Hi, good morning. I want to say, first of all, to the moderator, you're doing a wonderful job. I watch this show often. It's actually the first time I've called in, but it seems to be pretty feisty, but kudos to you. You're doing wonderfully. A lot of the attention has understandably been on the Republican primary, but people sometimes fail to realize that there are two primaries going on today. There's also a Democratic one, and I am a Democrat, and I did my research last night, and I saw that President Clinton actually won 84% of the vote in 1996, which may surprise some people. And I watched your program a few days ago on the Lesser-Known Candidates Forum. There are actually 14 candidates on the Democratic primary ballot. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what percentage President Obama gets. Now, I'm a big fan of President Obama. I think he's going to do a lot better. And I think in general he will. But, you know, what's a deal breaker for many New Hampshire people, many of my neighbors, they do not like Michelle Obama. I really do. I respect the First Lady. But so many people think she is a bitch with a...
Oh, please. Let's watch our language and keep the conversation productive so we can have a dialogue that gets us all thinking and advances the conversation.
Is waiting in Los Angeles, California, on our line for Independence. Lewis, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Go ahead, Lewis.
I think this, I was talking to my Aunt Lisa about this the other day, She thinks this goes all the way back to the Greeks. We're talking about universal nature, and nowadays you just have the Triforce with America, Canada, Russia, all that. But I guess, my main question is just how do lunchboxes work? What the fuck, man?
Apologize for that. We'll go on to Cleo in Dallas, Texas, as we talk about auto bailouts.
Why do we have to seek help from a paid professional in order to exercise our constitutional rights?
Okay, Sarah, let me go to Robert, who's in Ventura, Iowa. Your turn, Robert. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Am I on TV?
You're on.
Oh, great. Well, mine's kind of an unusual case, but my medication costs have actually gone down over the last 5 or so years here, and I just wanted to speak to something unusual. Like I'm watching, tuning in this morning, and just seeing what's going on this morning, watching you this morning. And I'll give you the first example if you're watching this morning. I no longer need Viagra because you got me
All
rocked.
right, we're going to move on to Brenda in Tallahassee.
Let's go to another New Hampshire call. Dan joins us, Republicans line. Good morning, Dan. Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning. I'm calling from Portsmouth. And
Great, welcome.
Good morning. I used to be an assistant to the Portsmouth city manager, and part of my job would be to help prepare for the primary, so I know a little bit of what Chairman McDonald's going through, a very little bit. I know you have a big job today, sir. And my question is regards to how turnout will affect the eventual result, and that is for Mr. Chairman. Do you believe that Mitt Romney has a big penis?
Oh. I apologize, Chairman McDonald, for that comment. We're trying to keep the conversation productive here this morning.
Wanted to make sure I heard him right.
The proof stands in his riddles of the pornos. Every Friday night he would go and rent pornos for the weekend for almost 2 years. The subject of every one of them was Black Bales, Long Dong Silver. He rented that 3 times before he finally bought it. He never rented a video about woman to woman.
Thank you. Pete is up next, Bay Village, Ohio, and independent there. Pete, what did you think of how the Democrats are portraying themselves and their candidate?
Yeah, well, I was listening to Bill Clinton tell his story tonight, and my mom came into my room to bring me a plate of chicken nuggets, and I literally screamed at her and hit the plate of chicken nuggets out of her hand. And she started yelling.
Pete, we're going to move on. Thanks. We're going to move on to Jared from North Charleston, South.
On at least for second, if not, of course, for first. Let's go to Clarence, Democratic line in Jacksonville, Florida, and hear what he has to say. Hi, Clarence.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very exciting day here in America, the New Hampshire primary. I think it's very interesting to see how different this race is from previous races when you look at the amount of personality that you see in the Republican field. Herman Cain with his 999 plan, Rick Perry with his oops, Michelle Bachmann with her very hairy vagina.
Oh, excuse me, that was totally inappropriate and...
Okay, Mary, you're up. Hi.
This is Mary. I have a big cock I like to play with.
Oh. I don't know how Mary got through our Tanya, our screeners. Yes, Tanya.
First caller this morning for Jug Greg. Go ahead.
Well, hello, Governor Greg. First, I'd like to say that you were my governor and congressman and senator for some time, and we were pulling for you to run for president yourself. But your support of Mitt Romney means that I'm supporting Mitt Romney as well. And, of course, Mitt Romney has very high expectations for the campaign and for his victory in the New Hampshire primary. I was wondering, what size lead do you think he needs to avoid a disappointment? And also, how big is Mitt Romney's penis?
Charlotte, apologies, Governor. Charlotte, North Carolina, Marcus.
2002. We'll start on our line for Democrats. Glenn called in from Salt Lake City, Utah. Glenn, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My question is, since we're spending all this money, where are we getting the money from? And my second question is, if I can shit in your mouth.
Apologize for that, Congressman. Don't take that kind of language here on the Washington Journal.
Around negotiations, how much influence that should Congress have on this process? Los Angeles, California, Republican line. Here is Jack. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jack Strickland. I just want to make it clear, first of all, I'm calling from Bel Air, California, but I am originally from Philadelphia, specifically West Philadelphia. But anyway, I was actually discussing this issue with a friend of mine recently while I was in Philly. It occurred on the basketball court. At some point during the conversation, a couple of guys who were up to no good essentially started causing trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air."
Again, for the first 45 minutes, Iran negotiations, how much influence should Congress have in this?
Hello. Yeah, before I have my comment, I'm enjoying the discussion very much. I've been listening to C-SPAN for several years, and probably the last few days have had the highest amount of obscene callers. So I'd like to ask a procedural question. What is C-SPAN doing to crack down on these calls?
Well, whenever we hear something, first of all, we try to admonish. We try to cut them off as best we can. We're not on any kind of delay or anything, so we just have to do the best we can and hope that we're getting the best from our callers. That's pretty much what I can say.
Yeah, it's just a shame that the level of discussion has gone down. But about the Romney situation, I actually think the attacks are the best thing that could happen for Romney. The best type of attacks that could happen whatsoever for Romney, because they highlight his business experience. You go to the exit polls in New Hampshire, you see what they're voting for him for. They're voting for him because they care about the economy, because they care about winning the election, and they're voting for him because of his huge penis.
All right, let's caller messing with us this morning. We hope to get the best of our callers. He set himself up nicely there, but let's move on. We don't need that kind of stuff.
I just wanted to say that my son, I sent my son over to Delphi College, Robert A. Bowie, and he is actually dating an African-American young lady, and we appreciate the history of it. And what my son is saying is that that is pretty much the hottest and sweetest pussy he's ever.
Apologies.
Coit, Michigan. Jim on our Republican line, please go ahead with your question or comment.
Yeah, thank you, C-SPAN. And Peter, you mentioned something about sharing the burden. And I just want to say, I go home every night, turn on the news, see these congressmen and women getting out of their limousines with their law degrees. But, for me, on Main Street, I'm still getting a $9 haircut, and, I drive a pretty nice van. And for that, I'm fortunate. But what I hate is that I'm becoming the one with the draconian policies. I'm becoming the vilified. I manage a Quiznos, and these punk kids come in and, they expect a free bag of chips, as our deal used to be. But, times have changed, and I got to say, you want those Doritos? Well, cool fucking ranch, kid.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.